Hello there! If you already play VRChat, you should know that there is a lot of people who talk too much, like me. But there is also a lot of muted people, and that's what this video is about. I'm gonna share with you my thoughts, a few conclusions, and also one story of my first muted friend who claimed my heart and disappeared from my life without a single word. If you wanna hear about it, stay tuned and watch the video till the end. There are many types of muted people in VRChat. Some of them don't speak at all, others only sometimes use their voice. There are also some people who use AI voices and other text-to-speech software. In general, I would say that there are quite a lot of such muted people, but the question is why? And the answer is a bit more difficult, because each case is different and there might be many reasons. Some people just don't like their voice. We all know how long it takes to accept ourselves as we are, not only in terms of appearance, but also how we sound in general. It can be tone of our voice, accent, and much more. That is why some people just don't like to talk at all, because they don't accept their voice. Social anxiety. VRChat is an amazing place where you can improve your social skills, make friends, and find a better place in general. Unfortunately, sometimes trauma, our past, mental problems, or other reasons don't allow us to be as socially active as we would like to be, sometimes to the point that we are unable to talk. Judgment. When we meet people on VRChat, they are limited to the information we provide. Sometimes it is our bio or profile picture. But sometimes people don't want to share anything about their lives, even their voice, because they don't want to be judged. A lot of information can be collected just from a person's voice. How old you are, what accent you have, or what is your gender. It's also easier to control the information you share with others if you use text, because when you talk, sometimes you might just let something slip that you will regret later. Health condition. Sometimes it is related to their health. Maybe they would like to talk like everyone, but they cannot, because it's physically impossible. These are just a few reasons that came to my mind while making this video, because everyone is different and there might be many more reasons why people don't want to use their voice in VRChat. Some of my friends have literally started calling me Mute Hunter, because I really hang out with muted people a lot, and honestly, I love it. First, let's go back to one of the reasons I've mentioned before, judgment. I'm only human, and I must admit that in VRChat I judge people by the way they move and the way they speak. Of course, I'm not doing it on purpose, it is just our nature. I'm doing my best not to judge them too much, but it is more of a first impression thing mostly. In the case of muted people, the only thing I can get the first impression from is their movement in the game, especially if they have a full body tracking or, for example, face tracking. You know that I'm talking about you, right? Thanks to this, I spend countless hours in the game with people I don't know. I often have no idea about their gender, age, or IRL background, and I think that's what makes them feel comfortable with me. I try not to ask them too many questions about their personal life, because honestly, I don't care. Not that I don't care about them, because I do, but I'm trying to show them that the only thing that matters to me is what is here and now, and I don't have to dig into their past, especially if they don't want to share it with me. Sometimes we get into deeper conversation, exchange experience, fool around together, and even cry sometimes. And I enjoy it very much, because it is the result of mutual trust. I like to refer to my muted friends as people I have a soul-to-soul connection with, because it's true, we basically knew nothing about each other and somehow became friends. There is some kind of magic in it, don't you think? I also like to play muted sometimes, just for an hour or two, just to find cool people to interact with, and I really enjoy it, especially since I know myself and my toxic nature. Sometimes I just talk too much and people feel bad because of it, but when I play muted I control everything, and I would even say I'm a better person when I don't talk, even a little cute. Before I move on to my short story, I would like to say one more thing. I'm asking for patience and respect for muted people. You never know what's behind their decision, and I assure you that you can build beautiful connections even with people you've never heard a word from. You might find this part a bit boring, but if you want to listen to it, it would be best if you make yourself a cup of tea, sit back and listen to my voice. Okay, a little story time. Not gonna lie, I got a little stressed. It's quite difficult for me because this period in my life was complicated, but let's go back to the beginning. It was January 2022. I met Ikea. That's obviously not their real name, but they were Swedish, so that's how I called them. A little cute nickname, right? They were a muted person with quite good movement and an amazing vibe. At first, it was just a friend, one of many, who would often join me, play with me, goofy around with me, and communicate using VRChat pens and soundboard. A few weeks have passed, and suddenly Ikea spoke to me in the game. So basically we were playing some horror game in VRChat, and while looking for clues on how to solve the puzzle, I heard someone said something. I looked back and it was them. I'm a good actor, so I acted as if it was something completely normal, but inside I was extremely happy. It was very important to me because we were getting closer, and this small step was just a confirmation of our friendship. After that day, they had no problem talking among our mutual friends, and I really liked it. The next chapter is Valentine's Day, one of the countless days when we stayed up playing VRChat until the morning. And finally, before going to bed, we realized it was a Valentine's Day. And because we spent it together, we were kinda each other Valentine. It was quite romantic, I would say, and I think I should find a video from that day.
That's how I'm spending my Valentine.
So, thank you for spending a Valentine's Day with me. And it's not over.
It's not over yet.
That's right. Okay, I'm not gonna stay for long here. I would love to stay with you longer. Oh, you're fucking amazing.
You as well.
Good night, or in this situation, good
You made my
day.
kinda shitty day not so shitty, so thank you. Even though I didn't say anything.
It will be.
Yes.
It will be
Yep.
be a good Valentine's Day.
It will be...
You will see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
see you later then. Bye bye.
Yeah, see you later. Bye bye.
We were getting closer every day, usually spending hours with our friend group, and at the end of the day alone, talking about everything and having a lot of fun. We felt very good spending time together. One day I woke up and made a decision. I want to ask Ikea out. I talked to my friend Taco about it and they supported me. So I was ready. There was only one little thing. I had to ask them about it. So while we were hanging out alone in VR Playground, I started talking about the idea. And oh my god, I stressed out as hell. It took me 5 or maybe even 10 minutes to get to the point. But they finally said yes. And if I'm not mistaken, there should be a video from that day as well.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm very happy to ask you about it, because, like, I mean, it's worth it. Like, you're worth it. What's your opinion about it?
I'm blushing like so bad. Yeah. Like, I'm in shock, kind of, that you're actually, like, considering meeting me. Which is, like...
Why? It's obvious. I mean, I'm trying to show you that I really like you. I'm not
Yeah.
really good at it, because, like...
No homo. I would like to meet you as well, so yes.
We were both excited about our meeting. They told me that they would be my guide in Stockholm. We planned to go to a few places, take some photos together, and everything seemed perfect, so I booked a flight to Sweden. Yeah, I forgot to mention that we were not from the same country, so I had to book a flight, pass, parking, and of course a hotel. Everything was ready, and all we had to do is wait. The last week before our meeting seemed a bit off. They were offline most of the time, and I got a little bit worried, so I sent them an emotional message talking about us, how much I missed them, just a little. They told me it was nothing to worry about because they were just busy with their dad. The date was getting closer and closer. It was the evening before my flight to Sweden. I packed my stuff and got worried again because I haven't heard from them in 3 days. It was almost midnight and I got a message from them. They were sick and we had to cancel our meeting. It was only 12 hours until my flight, and I must admit, it got me hard. I had no idea what to say, but knowing my overthinking nature, I immediately asked them to call me. It was a good decision because hearing their voice calmed me down. During our call, I was laughing all the time, because that is how I often deal with stress. We both said some nice things during the conversation. I told them that I needed to buy a winter jacket for the occasion because it is colder in Sweden than in my country, and they told me that they would lend me their jacket, so there was no need to buy it. We talked about this whole situation. I asked them how they were feeling, and honestly, that was the most important thing at the moment. I didn't really care about the money I spent. The only important thing was how they felt. Finally, they apologized for the situation, promised to keep me updated with their health condition, and offered to reschedule our meeting for the next week, or if I prefer, they can visit me in my country. When they said all this, I was sure that everything will be fine, and at that point I just hope they will recover quickly. The next day, they actually sent me a photo and said they were feeling a little better. We exchanged a few messages, and I haven't heard a word from them since. I was a little confused that they were offline for the next few days, and they didn't text me at all, especially since they knew I was worried about them. At this point, after a few days, I started to be a little bit depressed. I didn't know what to do, so I wrote them few emotional messages, sharing all my thoughts on the situation. And for those who don't know me, I'm an extremely honest person, so I told them everything, good and bad things. But I never saw them online, so I don't think that they even saw the messages. At some point, I came to the conclusion that maybe something had happened. I was very worried. What if they ended up in the hospital? I just wanted to know what was going on, because if they are in the hospital, I want to be there, by their side. We shared a lot of personal details with each other, but it is always wise not to reveal everything, so I decided to start digging using informations I had, and I found them. Before I get into it, I must say that this decision wasn't easy. There were certain lines we shouldn't cross, but at the same time, I wanted to know if they were safe, that nothing happened. First, I sent them a message on Twitter. I wasn't sure if it was their account, but I saw that the owner liked some post few days before, so I had to try. Unfortunately, they never replied. At the same time, I got my hands on some videos of them, from only half a year before I met them. The same voice, the tattoo they told me about, it was Ikea. There was also one video, recorded less than 24 hours before I got it, just a few seconds, from Black Cat's bathroom. Now, I was 100% sure it was them, and at this point, I just gave up. I wanted to know if they were alive, that was enough for me. Not gonna lie, I was truly heartbroken. The person I valued so much just disappeared from my life without a single word. I decided to delete my long emotional messages that I sent after their disappearance, and that closed this chapter in my life. The next month wasn't easy. It took some time to stop checking their status on the VRChat website, but as usual, after some time everything returned to normal and I accepted the loss of a close friend. This all happened over 1.5 years ago. I haven't heard a word from Ikea since then, but I hope they are doing well. A little personal note for Ikea. Whenever the reason for your disappearance was, I respect it, and I hope I will be able to meet you again someday. Thank you for the wonderful time we had together. You were a great friend. That's it, my thoughts on muted people and a short story about one of them. I hope you liked this more personal approach this time, because I really enjoyed sharing it all with you. See you soon in the future videos. Bye.